Welcome in, everyone. RFK Refugees Podcast. Ted here, Jon here, back with you. 2 shows in a row where we talk DC United.
It's a streak.
It's a streak, just like DC United, currently on a 5-game unbeaten streak. Who would have thought? Could have been a third win in a row? What would have been? I tried to look up the last time. I was like prepping. I was like, oh, when's the last time we've had 3 wins in a row? I think someone maybe dropped that.
1998 or something.
Wasn't meant to be. If it would feel like 1998, Wasn't meant to be though. But first, before we get into that, Jon, how was your weekend? Hope it was good.
It was good. I'm in my last week of my 40s. Well, not of my 40s, but of 40. Not geez. I don't wish those 9 years away. Don't want to do that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to a week of a little bit of travel tomorrow, and then some soccer. We got midweek soccer, which I'm a fan of.
DC, Chicago. We'll get into that a little bit. The preview stuff will be, I think, on our Patreon show. So check it out. $5 subscription to get.
What about you? Did you get your referee on this weekend? It was pretty weird weather. It was like hot and then cold.
Yeah, it was a little weird. So I did some Sunday. Did some of the little ECNL regional league type games out. It was a very hot field. Turf is like just insufferably hot sometimes. And I went over. They had a trainer there, and I went over to ask, should we be doing a water break? And they're like, nope, we're under the radar. I had some coaches ask about it. There were enough subs from teams, so I don't think anybody suffered a dehydration, but it was kind of a type moment where apparently they were going very, very strictly on how the weather was. But
what's the real cost there of just having a hydration break? It stopped what is the real difference?
Yeah, I haven't. And some other referees are like, if the coaches both agree to it, we're just going to do it. I felt a little like I had an executive of sort of the referee group there, and he was very strict about, nope, we're well below the threshold, so no water break.
The time just extends, right? You just extend the time and injury time for both halves.
Well, I think on our games, typically we do kind of a running clock for most water breaks. I think in this was like an ECNL type game, so probably we would do some extension. I had a little moment where I had to speak to a player who decided to go over and kick the corner flag after scoring a goal.
Cool.
And the other coach was like yelling at me let's just play. And I said, Coach, I got you. Don't worry. And I had like 30 seconds to the end of the game. There was certainly nuance in this game. But yeah, anything high school related, we definitely stop the clock for water breaks. So that definitely happens. But I think everybody was good. And no dehydration incidents or anything like that. But yeah, it was a good weekend. I also went Saturday, to go see the Richmond Ivy play. Very clearly I didn't realize, I thought this was like the first home opener, and they were playing a team they play in USL, like the W League, but apparently this was like a tournament game. Yeah, an exhibition. So like the season, like for the W League is like really short. Like it basically starts like mid-May and then ends like end of June. Like very short season. And it's a lot of college kids. So it's local college kids who are playing out, or local kids, maybe some are from the area or something like that are playing for other sort of college teams. So it's very much like that type of like atmosphere. But this was very clearly like a game. It's like we've got a kickers game that we can host a watch party for. I didn't stay for the watch party at 7. Let's do a game here. Let's get a bunch of people to come in. It's going to be it was a kick it forward cup match. It was one of those like charity shield type matches. And the Ivy won 3-1, which was cool. Still a lot of fun, but definitely encompass of like the oddness, I guess, of like how short the season is and how many limited windows they have to like very clearly.
I would assume sparsely attended as well.
No, 5,000.
This was exhibition game.
This was treated kind of as a home opener, man. The Richmond Ivy outdraw the Kickers in a lot of ways.
That is wild.
This is a team that I think generates a lot of fans. The atmosphere is very different. There are a lot of people who, obviously who are part of the Red Army that go to the Ivy games. It's also a little harder. Like you can't be as annoying as a fan like you can be at a Kickers game. You can't make really derogatory chants, and it doesn't feel right to do that for essentially college kids who aren't making a lot of money. It's very different when they're sort of fully professionals and
who also don't make a lot of money,
who are full grown adults too, who also don't make a lot of money but are at least paid somewhat. So it's a very different type of atmosphere. And so, but overall, man, I mean, this is definitely, it's a team for the families. It is. And so, yeah, there was like 5,000 people there. It was a packed house. So, that is a team that certainly does draw well.
Maybe the kicker should stop. They should have less swearing at the players. Maybe more families would come out. You guys can.
Well, the kickers need to be better. That's the problem. Is that the Ivy have always been a team that is fun. They score goals. They won 3-1 in this game. So they're always a team that's been pretty good. They haven't like made a rung, I guess, in the W League. It's very like, it's like you have to be first in that division. So anyway,
speaking of a team that scores goals,
apparently. And our new $7 million striker, looking like a $7 million striker, scoring goals. DC United, 2-2 draw against Nashville. Our results, I think I wrote, if you had offered that to us, I think at the beginning of the game, we would have said absolutely.
For sure. I think that was in our math. I think we were hoping for a draw against Nashville.
But the nature by which they got the draw, it would be like a monkey's paw curl type incident. Where I think if you knew that, we're going to tie this game 2-2, and then you saw that you're up 2-0, you would go, oh, good gracious.
I didn't have time to research. This has happened to us in the last 2 years where we were away to a team that was way better than us with a lead, and then we lost it. And then we left with the draw mad. It happened either last year or the year before, and I recall it. It's, the kissing your sister weird saying it applies. It's just it's all about your expectations. It's all about what you allow yourself to, if you dare to dream. But I mean, the second half was different.
Yeah. The first half, I think this was sort of a repeat. A lot of ways, they took the same sort of style that they took from NYCFC and took it to Nashville. It was be solid on defensive side. Don't allow any sort of big chances. Don't allow any sort of, don't allow them to get that, and then catch them on breaks, catch them on counters, catch them on set pieces. It's the Renée Weiler way.
It's the butterfly meme. Is this a cohesive attacking philosophy? That's what we're at now.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, before, I would say for the first 7 games of the season, it was basically like, all right, we are bad. We stink. So the only hope we have is to just be intensely defensively rigid, and that's good. And then if we score on a break or a set piece, then great, we'll win 1-0 hopefully. But it appears that, I don't know if it's not necessarily that the Marines are being released and we're all of a sudden becoming very porous defensively. I don't think it's really that. It's what you said. It's sort of it's a yes and rather than a flipping the, like, it's not a whole new strategy. We're not all of a sudden going to give up 4 or 5 goals because we are full field pressing the entire game or anything crazy like that. It's more, I would say it's better to watch. Yeah. Generally.
Yeah. I mean, and you're still getting, arguably the same results. Would I prefer to draw 0-0 or tie 2-2? I would say tie 2-2. I would like to see some goals. I'd like to see some attacking. Let's talk about, I think, the DC United star of the match, I think, is Luis Munteanu picking up his goal. There was sort of an interesting, if you go read Matt Doyle's piece, actual genuine positivity analyzing DC United for the first time. I
think it was a mistake. I read that too. I think he may have had like a small health crisis for a second, and then he got better, because it was very much like, I don't want to say that this was Nashville being bad. You kind of got to give it to him a little bit, and
yeah,
we'll take it.
And what he pointed out, I think, is he pointed out Luis Munteanu's sort of run. Him sort of finding the box. Hopkins kind of cuts inside, and Luis Munteanu kind of drifts off, finds the space. A really nice header.
Great ball by Hefti.
Yeah, great ball by Hefti. We'll talk about him in a little bit. And
he taketh away.
Yeah, not so good. And I'll get into some referee thoughts, because I'm sure you guys are pining for that.
Oh, they are.
And you guys are all going to leave. Everyone's going to leave unhappy. I guarantee you that. But still a great finish. It's really good to see. Like, I guarantee you, it's like, maybe not a $7 million player, but I think right now what we've seen from him, he's now locked in as a starter on this bench. And it's also good to see, I think the big question, and what I took away from what Matt Doyle read, so Matt Doyle watches way more soccer than I do, knows a lot more about the game, was he was like, I think this could work between Munteanu and Ty Baribo. Like, this could be, I could see Ty Baribo making that type of run that Hopkins makes. And I could see him sort of finding those pockets of space when he kind of draws in defenders. Pulling the Jamie Tart type route of the look over here type thing to open up space for your other teammates. Will Ty Baribo like that because the guy's a goal scorer? We'll see. But I think overall, like, certainly a good thing to see as kind of a moment. I don't think he did, like, other than the goal, not too many other sort of actions for him. But, again, it's good to see him getting the opportunities. It's good to see him, getting the goals. Like, the opportunities might not be coming, but he's putting them away. And that's what you want to see out of your striker, especially one that you paid so much money for.
The other probably star of the game is Gabriel Pirani. Oh, wait. It appears. So I didn't hear it didn't hear it said. They said the announcer said that there's an agreement to move a mutual agreement to terminate his contract. Did you hear that?
I did not hear that.
So someone who was watching the show or watching the game mentioned that in our Discord. I mean, I would assume that to me makes the most sense out of everything. It's like you run him down in the press for 4 weeks and he's never going to make the bench again. The best thing to do, he has no value. You've just lit it on fire. So just be done with him. Have him leave.
Yeah. And he's certainly a player that I think could find his way back. On. Yeah. Back to South America. It's not a situation. It's not a Ravel Morrison situation where there's literally no other buyers at his rate. I think he thinks very highly of himself. I think that's what we've seen. He's an attacker. That's what he's going to do. I hope it's that. I hope it's that. And then I hope it's a Jackson Hopkins U22 contract announcement, because let's get into him because, he does so many things right, but he had another moment in this game where he had another opportunity right in front of goal.
He had
at least two. Yes, you're right. At least two opportunities right in front of goal that should have been in the back of the net. Should have been a goal, could have been a 3-0 game, and DC could have been like running away with it. Yeah, man. The first one,
not a forward, man. Not that's he is being miscast right now. So that's not entirely on him. I think it's pretty apparent that this is not it's not his skill set. He's not a finisher.
Yeah. I mean, he's certainly an offensive mind. I think it is a case for him is like you really maybe miss the moment a little bit as far as like trying to, maybe put a stamp on, maybe make a little bit more of a headache. I think the addition of Stroud kind of out on the right side, even in a game like this, that maybe you would have seen Herrera set out, I think to me indicates that Renée is trying to keep the offensive posture maybe a little bit more on the front foot by putting a guy like Stroud in, who's more of a winger, who's going to attack it. I fully expect next week, maybe Wednesday, maybe the week after, I fully expect we are going to see Munteanu and Baribo up top. I think we're going to see then Hopkins outright, and he's going to kind of crash, and Hefti or Herrera in this case is going to kind of maybe occupy, kind of overload that right side, and Hopkins is going to kind of cut in and play more. So it's a formation that could potentially shift to like almost a 4-3-3, maybe in possession, where Hopkins is playing a little more central and he's sort of able to kind of cut in. I think that's the well within the ways of what we'll see with this team.
Makes sense to me.
Heading forward.
Caden Clark also continue. It's another player, not necessarily to the point of Pirani being a mutual termination, but I do wonder if he's not going to get any minutes that you maybe move him on in the summer or let him go, because he would also seem to be a player that could fit in that role as well. But it's just not functioning in that way whatsoever.
Yeah, not really getting. I mean, didn't get any moments. Obviously, the game state, I think, definitely shifted. Maybe there was an opportunity for him to make a shift into the game. But yeah, if you're chasing the game, it feels like really like this team. I think he's also suffering because, again, I think the past couple games you look at, maybe at the exception of the Orlando game, there haven't been many moments where they've been sort of chasing the game. A lot of it's been like right now, the past couple games, they've been up. And so they've been needing to try to hold on to that lead.
Unusual advantage territory for them.
Yeah, so I think that's been the big things. Also want to call out Matti Peltola. Just like
Steady Eddie.
Still just like a very solid performance. I think it was on the at least one of the opportunities, just makes like a really nice read to like keep the pressure on and to really dispossess Nashville and sort of force play, and then coming back on defense again, just making timely interception after timely interception. Just overall, like, just another solid performance.
Last player you got to call out is Sean Johnson. Saved the point in the last couple minutes of the game with a great save on a shot that was very challenging to get a finger on. his shot stopping continues to be great. I think the goals that he conceded were not his fault.
Yeah. Even I think the first one, people are going to point out to the first one and say like he should have like done better with that. I think he gets kind of surprised by it. It's one of those shots that it looks kind of slow, but I think it's the way it's sort of taken by, I forget the striker, but it's kind of like to his back and kind of a quick turn. And that's going to cause you to be a little slower to react because you can't really see it until it's like coming right at you. He lifts it up. I will say, like, one player I want to call out who I thought had a pretty horrible performance was Aaron Herrera.
Yes.
I thought Herrera was awful in this game. This was a moment.
You're going to get to see 90 minutes of him on Wednesday.
Yeah. Just like, and I will be curious to see whether like the shift to a more natural wing back role maybe leads a little bit better for him, but just like, dispossessing in the attack. He, on the second goal, my goodness, my man, like just completely hung out to dry, unable to really clear it, unable to really should be winning that ball. Gets kind of caught between two minds and who to cover. Yeah, man, just not a great performance from him. And we'll get into I think there's a lot of fans that like love Herrera because he's one of the few players that were good. And I think want to see Hefti, go away. And I think maybe this red card is an opportunity and we'll get into him. We'll get into him a little bit with that. But just like, just not a good performance. Anything else? I'll talk referee decision, but I want to give you anything else that kind of caught your mind.
I just wanted to make sure that Sean Johnson got a shout and that was, and then the fact that Hopkins is a bad forward, but also shouldn't be one. So yeah. I think that is the sooner that Baribo can be 90 minutes fit or even 60 minutes fit, the better this team's going to be.
Yeah. I'll be curious to see what Wednesday is going to look like. He's back on the field. I don't think he starts Wednesday.
Now with only 6 minutes on this game, I think he's probably still working his way back. You're right.
Yeah. What I would want to see is do this for 45 and then shift Hopkins outright, try and maybe for 45, 30 minutes, try to see if you can get a run in. I think a lot of it's going to be game state driven too. Big opportunity coming up. We'll talk about that a little bit on the Patreon show. By the way, talk about Sean Johnson. According to FootMob, expected goals on target face 3.38. So he has a 1.38 plus in the positive direction there. So again, you talk about a shot stopping. This has been, I think it was a pick that was maybe maligned by some of the fans, but I think they've done a solid job at getting just a solid goalkeeping talent in there, making it not the problem anymore, which hasn't been that way in a long time.
It was one of those things where you might have been too smart by criticizing this. Like his stats were so amazing last year. Like, well, yeah, you see, but the stats are lying to you, and they're actually he's going to have a complete slide back to being bad again. But this time it was actually just like, no, it appears that he just has found a late career renaissance here. He's 36 years old, but not for a goalie. He's still got a couple years here where he's still going to probably be able to do this without much of a stretch. And he's on a 2-year deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Perfect
it's a
stretch.
1.5 technically. So it's going to be through this year and then through this mini season. I think
which I think is great as far as wanting to own risk and whatnot. Like I feel like if they've got this out of him this year. And, even if he declines a little bit next year in the half season, that was an A+ move. As Lewis becomes more of a workable goal scoring option, the offseason looks even better.
Yeah.
It really does. And then it makes you, and I understand hearing me say that after being here for the first 8 games feels crazy. But we are where we are in the table. We're now scoring goals. We've had a schedule that hasn't had a lot of meat on it yet, but we're getting into that now. So I do feel better about going into the summer window with an open DP slot after the choices that have been made and it seemed to have been, working out. I still, the $7 million thing is, it's hard. It's a hard target to hit. I think you should lop $2 million off of that for the DC United suck tax, the wooden spoon tax. Be like, all right, well, if he is in your mind a $5 million player, then we're actually even. You got to market to market. It's like Canadian dollars.
And I've said this for years. I personally, I don't care. I don't care.
It's not your money.
How much they paid for him. I feel like we get into this whole valuation. I always judge players. I look at cap hit. That's what I look for. Like, in my opinion, like you have to play well enough to earn that DP slot. If we start splitting hairs as to whether he's worth $7 million or not, I'm like, is he worth a designated player spot? Beginning of the year, I would have said, no, absolutely not. This looks like a completely bad move. Now I would say it's getting there. We're getting there. I don't want to like call it a slam dunk yet. I want to see a little bit more. I want to see this continue, throughout the season. I want to see this continue, past the World Cup break. I want to see, what happens when we have like generally great chance creation. Can he like continue this up? What is his, if his expected goals are, if he's at like a 0.3 average expected or 0.03 average expected goals and he's scoring 5 goals, then I'm like, well, that's going to even out. So like where, how is he sort of in sort of generating those chances and getting himself into those good spots? So, yeah, I mean, that's what you want to see. And I don't like, everybody splits hairs on this. If he comes in and he's a good player, I think that's what some people, when I talk about like Sean Johnson, when people talk about Hefti versus like Herrera, I think because people are ready to be like, hey, let's get what a bad play. It's almost like some people like just want Sean Johnson not to do well. I feel like there's some Bill Hamid, like this was kind of like the top rival to Bill Hamid, maybe some of that going on. But I just like,
that
I
was
tell
like
you,
in
man,
the Obama administration. That feels like forever ago.
But it's like it always feels to me it's like sometimes the grass is not always greener on the other side, and you can go and get a player that is more reasonable and maybe has some of the same production in Munteanu, but you don't know that, and so you go with what you have right now. And right now, Munteanu has played like a DP these past couple games. He's getting goals. His real challenge now is like he and Ty have to develop a tandem. And if Ty can use some of the skills that we've seen to sort of elevate him, if they can get on the same page, look out. And then they go find like an Espinoza type player who was out there on the field today and very, very good. Then we've got something. We've got something here.
The last thing I want to spotlight from a player perspective is Andy Najar continually like just stunting on the previous administration's view on his ability to stay healthy and be productive.
Yeah.
Just like every time we play him, it feels like that is like the Jordan flu game. Like he will guaranteed dribble past at least 2 of our players to make them look stupid, and he did that again. This game got his assist. He's a wonder. How old is he now? He's 33. He's still 33. He's totally in the zone, man. There's going to be more years of this.
Yeah, man. This is
4 chances created, 114 touches, most in the game of all players.
I don't think there's any doubt that he has been the best DC United Academy product ever produced. And
we had him twice too.
Yeah, it says a lot. Kevin Paredes, maybe we'll see, but like, I mean, just if it weren't for injuries, like this guy would be playing in the Premier League. I have no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like injuries completely wrecked. He is absolutely one of the most talented right backs in the league. Just some of the stuff he pulls is just honestly
it's
incredible.
Awesome.
All right, let's do Ted's ref segment because I think we
need music for this. We should start making music for this. If anyone wants to make a short 5-second jingle, Ted's ref corner, and send it to the show.
Well, we have situations like this. David Jones says, shame on the ref for the first awful yellow on Hefti. But what was the coach thinking? Well, hold on. I'm gonna, that's a little more of a question of that. Rufus Firefly over on Blue Sky says, I thought the refereeing clue was over their heads. 2 referee questions. Was Hefty's first yellow either a foul at all, if a foul worthy of a yellow? Have you ever witnessed 2 goal scoring referee decisions overturned by VAR in a single match? That's the last question all the time. It happens all the time. I don't think people realize like how difficult as an AR it is to call a free kick, like call offsides on a free kick. It is so incredibly challenging because essentially you're taking all of the players. There's not a scenario where it's like we have a defender and attacker and you just have to watch those 2 players and see if they're there. You have a clump of players and your job is just to try to, and you could have like situations where you have 2 players that are offside, but you have 1 player onside. Free kicks are a absolute nightmare to call live if you've ever been an AR and you've ever done referee. I think on the first goal, I think that the AR was right to raise his flag and to say that it looked like to me he was in line of the goalkeeper, and you can't do that. Now you get the benefit of VAR. And that's why you do that. And he waited till the end. He put up his flag and they have a discussion. as to whether he's in the line of sight. Clearly the center referee didn't see, because the center referee could easily say, I'm sure the AR was saying, I've got an attacker in an offside position. Was he in the way of the keeper, in your opinion? And maybe they went with it. They look at the review, they overturn it. Perfectly fine with that. That's a perfectly good use of VAR. Second offside, that's, again, just tough call. Thankfully, VAR exists. They could clearly see that was offside. Again, good use of VAR. This is the stuff that we want VAR to do, not some of the other stuff that we've seen it do in the Champions League and in other places like that. Now let's get to Hefti's foul. Hefti's foul, I've watched it. I think this is another case. It's like on the replay, yeah, it looks like two players coming together. Not sure it's a foul. Calling it live, I can see what the referee is seeing. He sees what looks to be his Hefti's beat, which he kind of is. And, he also have to take into consideration, if this is like a rec match or a lower league match, I'm probably just waving that off and saying, it's clumsy, two players clumsily going together. When you have professionals like that, there is some certain sense of like, Hefti, I think, kind of knows what he's doing. He doesn't really protest the yellow, I think is interesting. If you look at him, he doesn't really go, what do you, he kind of says, whatever. I think he definitely
this won't come back to haunt me.
I think he kind of like knows he loses his footing, and he kind of like maybe just lets his legs slide a little bit into the back, hoping maybe the referee just sees like shoulder to shoulder contact, does a pretty good job selling it, and then is like, oh, no, didn't work out for me. You call the foul there, it's a yellow. It's stopping a promising attack. If Hefti is not there, you have a attacker going to the end line. He's going to put a cross in. It's going to be dangerous. Worthy interpretation of stopping a promising attack. So fine with the yellow there. Even if the yellow is BS, I don't think Hefti deserves any sort of benefit of the doubt. The second foul is horrible. Absolutely a yellow card, 100%. I thought the referee could have, honestly, if I was in Nashville, I'd be a little frustrated. I would just prefer the referee continue play and then just go give the yellow later, which he can absolutely do and can absolutely happen. But 100%, no question, a yellow card there. Just a really, really dumb foul. And that's why, like, I don't really, in my mind, I'm like, I don't think Hefti deserves any benefit of the doubt, man. You were on a yellow. What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, how do you
was the dialogue that the second one should not have been a yellow? Is that what people are saying?
The first one, people say the first one should not have been that.
Okay. But the second one, there's no question there. That no question. Okay, good. Just
no question.
Sure. I thought by the way that was being described, that people were like, give them benefit of the doubt. Come on.
And that stuff is going to happen. Like, if the roles are reversed, I'm willing to bet the referee maybe doesn't give that second yellow. I'm willing to bet maybe he's like, yeah, but I think he's getting in, when you get into sort of later in the game, you've got a physical team, you've got a team that's up right now 2-0. There's going to be some different sort of match management that he's going to do. And it absolutely doesn't excuse Hefti for doing what he's doing. He knows he's on a yellow. He's been on a yellow. He's been able to sort of ride that wave. And, you're doing that stuff. You're opening yourself up to the referee saying, that's a second yellow. You're gone. Like, I've got stopping a promising attack. You're out of here. It's in my mind about that. Let's talk about David's question. He talks about the yellow for Hefti, but what was the coach thinking? He left him in so long in the second half, and why doesn't he use all his subs? That comes from David Schoen over on Patreon. What do you think to the answer to that question about the subs? Because he just used 3 subs. He used 3 sub windows, 3 subs. It was like a classic pre-COVID type of lineup.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes when coaches get ahead, they believe it is by nature of the lineup they have selected and the tactics they have selected. So they are, even as the game slips away, they are resistant to try to make any substantial changes to what had gotten them there. I think that might have been a little bit of the situation. I don't know that he trusts Herrera a lot right now, as evidenced by the way that he played when he came in after the red card. So I don't know. I think he trusts him a lot. I think he really, really, Hefti is a player he brought over here and believes in very much, and probably thought that he was going to be smart enough to not get himself in a situation where the yellow would be a problem. And he was wrong, unfortunately. Yeah. What do you think?
And I would just look at, let's look at the lineup. I feel like sometimes in certain sense, people are like, you should use all your subs. You should use all your subs. You should.
Who are the subs? That's always the most question.
It's always the question. Connor Antley would be the only other defensive sub that would be left on the bench. At that point, like, what do you like? Do you push Herrera back up top? Do you then put in Antley for more defensive support? Maybe. I'm not sure what benefit you really get from that. if being perfectly honest. And, he threw in Markovic, who again was fairly solid and is clearly a player that has a higher ceiling than Connor Antley is at this point. I think that's the nature of it. And then obviously, like, you're not going to put in an attacker when you're down defending, and especially you're not going to do it when you're down a man. You put in Ty Baribo because that's your star promising attacker to try to see if you can, maybe he can find a moment. But you're not going to change your entire shape to chase that third goal, because then you're leaving yourself susceptible to make this a 3-2 game. So that was definitely a pragmatic approach is what we've seen from him. So I don't know, man. I don't see none of these, like, no one was left on the bench that I would say would make a tremendous difference to how the situation played out.
And I want to clarify that Herrera came on before the red card, but he came on for Stroud as an attacking player and then had to be reconfigured after the red card.
Yeah. So yeah, just another thing. Let's get.
You gotta love that the goal happens a minute after the red card, though. That is always the sense of doom. The impending sense of doom had to be there I know it was for me as a fan watching that. After those two bad things happen right away, like, all right, well, how bad is this going to get? How quickly are this? You have hit their button. They are now turned. What's going to happen with the scoreline? But so I think it's good to get out with a draw after that, with the field tilting pretty heavily in that direction.
I was very much in the case of, like, once they got the red card, I was like, okay, if they can hold on for maybe the next 5-10 minutes without giving up a goal. Because let's see, 76, the red card happened
red card happened 75. First goal happened 75,
so 76. So I was like, when the red card happened, I was like, okay, if they can hold off for like 5-10 minutes, settle into the game, I think they can get out here with a win. Once the first goal happened,
we can do for you is 1 minute, Ted. Is that sufficient for you?
And then they got the first goal, and I'm like, okay, now I'm honestly like, if we escape here with a draw, I'll be happy. I will be satisfied. Because you knew that they had 14 minutes. They've got attackers that they can just bring on for days. They were able to bring on literally a player. They're one of their DPs that they rested, Madrigal, who's going against 10 men. That was always going to end poorly. I think it's a good fact that they didn't completely crumble and they still walked out of there with something that you can kind of like hold your head up high, that you faced some adversity, you broke, but you didn't, completely crumble. So. And I think that's what's escated by More Art by Brent A. Moore. I'll take the positive on the road. The weird stuff usually favors the home team, and even though they're coming off the Champions Cup downturn, a point to Arbors' strongest team in the East is more than DC has done in a long time.
Yeah,
it's a good result.
We got a comment here about Wednesday night game. Could Antley replace Hefti instead of Herrera? I think that's possible. I think that's very possible. Particularly with the way that the Herrera substitute appearance went. I don't know. What do you think? I'm just trying to think from a rotation perspective.
I think he still recognizes that Herrera is a better talent than Antley is. So could be, but I would still expect. I'm still going to say that I think Herrera gets the start in that right back position. And opportunity to say, hey, here's your natural position. Here's your opportunity to see if you can wrestle this position back. Jim Bear says, who scores more goals over the course of the season, Lewis or Ty?
I think Ty. I think particularly if the summer window is focused on creating more chances, I think Ty is a better recipient of that. That's I mean, it's tough though. It's tougher than it would have been 2 weeks ago because Ty has either been injured or has not seen the opportunities he wants when he is on the field. So it's tough. It's a good question.
I think it's going to be if this team can go out and get the chance creation. I will say Lewis shows a little more ability to sort of kind of create his own shot, where Ty is just going to be that last guy who puts the 0.8 XG chance away and just do it consistently, which is an underrated trait. So I'm going to go with Ty because I expect this team to go and get some more chance creation. Follow up on the Lewis and Ty question. Do you see these players pairing together in their optimal formation once they're both in the starting lineup? I think we kind of touched on that. I don't know. Do you have any sort of different ideas about how you think that's going to line up, or it's probably going to be the two of them up top? It's what we've seen kind of this team build around.
I think you just keep it simple there in that perspective. You play your two goal scorers. And it'll work out.
Stephen Cladd says disappointed but objectively satisfied. With the 2-2 draw, we probably could have held on for the win if Hefti wasn't sent off. Are y'all feeling confident or a little deflated as we head into the Wednesday match against Chicago? I'm feeling confident, personally. These next 3 games, I mean, for me, it's like anything less than 7 points would be very disappointing. And even 7 points would be just like a pass.
To beat Nashville on the road, regardless of what happened 3 days prior, the fact that they were coming on short rest, the fact that that would have been theft. It would have been the talent gap is still exceedingly large. The skill level from a team perspective is exceedingly large. I understand we're on a bit of a hot streak, but there was always going to be a heavy lift. The fact that the game went the way it went, okay, whatever. But we should feel good and we should feel more confident coming out of that than running into that because of the difference in opponent compared to the 2 games prior.
I think you also have to view it as maybe it'll be one of those kind of blessings in disguise where if the team gets the win, then they're really riding high and then they might overlook a team like Chicago and suffer a regress. Here it's maybe a lesson about, hey, things are better, but you need to be perfect. Like you're still a team that can't afford to make mistakes. Making a silly mistake, other teams have more talent. Better teams have more talent where they can have a 2-0 lead, pick up a red, and still are able to hold it on. You guys aren't there yet. In any stretch, you guys need to, we don't have a way to sort of shift the game very much. We can throw on more defensive talent, but we don't have a player that we can definitely bring on. If Connor Antley's a better player, maybe that's, your next sub as soon as the red card happens to also like try to solidify things on the back line. So I think that's the message you want to take from this game is, and what the message continues to be is that this team certainly is playing better. They're more competitive. They're not a team that you can walk into anymore and overlook and say, oh, we're going to, smack this team 2-3-0, get out of here. They're now a team that they're going to make it hard to play against, which I think was what we hoped for. So, also with Hefti spending his child, do you think we'll see a glimpse of the Herrera of old? He finally has quality attackers and finishers to cross to once again. We'll see. He had, I won't argue whether his moments, I think, were more based on just maybe trying to push the ball forward and that not being the right moment or missing the pass. If he gets 90 minutes, if he gets a 90-minute performance, if he plays out there for 90 minutes, then I think I'll be curious to see how that kind of plays in because we really haven't seen him play in that position naturally. So, Matthew Gluff, last question before we go to the Patreon. So, Rennie coaches to the opposition more than any coach I remember here at DCU. I'll only go back to Olsen. What instructions do you see him giving for our 3 remaining matches before the World Cup break? I don't know if you really just play your game. I mean, I think this is a formation that, I would say Chicago is the only team that concerns me, even though they have played pretty poorly. This is going to be, I think, this is one of those games you kind of come up into the season where I feel like you have a team that's surprising people. You have a team that's expected to be better that hasn't played really well in the past couple of weeks. So I think this is a moment that might start to see, if DC picks up a win, I think at that point you have to call them, maybe not perennial top 5 teams in the league, but I think you can say, okay, this is now, you got to consider them a playoff team. So this will be a big match on Wednesday. I
agree.
All right. I think that's going to do it for the free edition of the show.
There's not much to say about this Spirit game in Seattle, but I would say that Claudia Martinez, who already has 3 goals in her early career, I misread the situation very badly on the quote by Haley Carter about how slow they were going to need to bring her along. She's been great. The best of the team was a tough game. It was a tough game. Sadie McIver was like, I'm sorry to people who watched that game. It was not great. And it wasn't. And I was laughing at Jason Anderson for having flown all the way out there for his first road trip, on his new Greenland Soccer and have watched 82 minutes before a shot on goal. But then Martinez scores 2 minutes after I tweeted that. So it shows me there. But yeah, I mean, the only thing that was of note in that game to pay attention to was Trinity Rodman hurting her ankle, but it sounds like no boot, no limps, no crutches. So if whatever it is, maybe not a serious thing, but I would bet that they're going to take it very carefully with her on this long road trip that they're on. I think they go to, where do they go to next? They go to San Diego on the 15th. So I would, if she plays there, imagine it'll be just a few minutes. She would not. You hope.
Yep, I hope they're able to. Are they able to stay there? Are they able to kind of stay around the area? Do they have to pretty much travel right back? I don't know.
Where you mean for their next game after that?
Yeah.
I think they're staying out there. I think that they are leaving. It's such a different scenario, I think, under this ownership where they're like, would it be better for you guys to stay out west? Great. Get whatever hotel you guys need. Yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Whatever is the best for the team is what we'll pay for. So I think they're just going to chill out there. And then they've got Pachuca at home on the 20th. Is that home? That's home.
Yeah. That'll be the Women's Champions, CONCACAF Champions Cup. So some international soccer to watch. Definitely worth watching. But yeah, Simply B, I should also ask, Claudio Martinez is a revelation. Who in the Spirit organization has the amazing eye for international talent? And can you please get them on the pod?
Haley Carter, probably, right? Or they have a GM as well that is not Haley Carter.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're a doctor, though. So it's tough to say whether or not they're qualified.
Do they write great LinkedIn posts that they love?
Hard to know.
but yeah, no, I mean, Claudio Martinez, I think it's so, just talking about this, I still go back to the Bethune trade, and it's just like this feels like when the team traded Ashley Sanchez, and it was like very clearly like they knew what they were doing. They brought in Bethune. Bethune was great. Now it's like, Bethune wants a trade. They're like, sure, we'll take $1 million. And by the way, we've got a phenom, attacking phenom. People have sort of been comparing her to Marta. Like, this is going to be a player that is going to be a problem
at all.
And what's that?
No pressure at all.
Yeah, but people are like thinking this is like what being like when Marta was first starting to play. Paraguay is not a team that has dominated like world football, and neither was Brazil until Marta showed up. So I'm going to be like I will love to watch like the World Cup and watch her play in it. Presumably that Paraguay qualify. So yeah. All right, that's going to do it. We're going to do a quick little Patreon segment just to get back to that part of the show. So thank you guys for watching on the live show and on the free show. Stick around. You're going to get, if you're on the Patreon, $5 tier or higher, you get access to some guy. We're going to talk Andre Dozo a little bit, and also the Next Pro investment that has been made. So some interesting things, maybe some DC implications to that. So stick around. Vamos.